One of the main reasons why narcissists don't have healthy relationships with people and don't have real friends or people where they have that genuine, healthy connection with is because it's usually a matter of time before people upset the narcissists, even though they really haven't done anything wrong. And the narcissist then holds certain things against those people. So, for example, narcissists so often need to hold on to the idea of their own grandiosity, like they're super special in some way, that they should somehow be super respected, more so than the average person, that their accomplishments should be recognized by people, and that people should give them praise. They feel that they should have certain recognition and praise to feed their own grandiosity, their own sense of superiority. But what so often happens is people don't always feed the narcissist with enough positive feedback, enough positive reinforcement for them to sustain their own delusion of grandiosity. And then what happens there is the narcissist all of a sudden starts feeling a bit insecure, starts feeling a bit shaky, starts feeling a bit lightheaded, in a sense that this grandiose view of themselves that they so bad want to hold on to, the people around them are not always reflecting it back to them. And then instead of seeing that in a mature, objective way, which is, first of all, maybe the narcissist isn't heads and shoulders above everybody else on the planet. Maybe they just are a normal human being. And B, maybe the people aren't trying to attack them. The people are not trying to do anything to offend the narcissist. They're simply not, everybody who the narcissist interacts with, they're simply not always putting the narcissist on the highest pedestal. And when the narcissist isn't being put on that highest pedestal, such that they struggle to feed their own delusion of grandeur of themselves, they can't help but hold it against other people. And most of the time, they're not even really conscious of what they're doing. Some narcissists who are self-aware eventually reach a point where they realize that, and sometimes they even try to mitigate it because they know that it can cause harm to them. But a lot of narcissists, they don't realize that people are just treating them with respect, politely, normally. But because they're not feeding the narcissist's ego so much, they're not giving them extra praise, they're not giving them extra recognition for whatever, then the narcissist so often doesn't feel good with that person, because basically the narcissist is catching glimpses of who they really are. Just a normal person like everybody else, with a disorder on top of that. But the narcissist doesn't want to see themselves in that kind of normal light. And they certainly don't want to see themselves in a light of someone being disordered. And they overcompensate for the fact that they know that they feel something's wrong with them. They overcompensate for that by trying to convince themselves that they're super special. But they want everybody else to reflect that back to them. But everybody else cannot reflect it back to them because it's not real. And that's what upsets the narcissists. They can be getting along with somebody very well for some time, having conversations, maybe working with a person, maybe going out. But it's always a matter of time before the person doesn't quite put the narcissist on the pedestal that they need to be on. And then it reaches this point where the relationship becomes a bit uneasy. There are a few people out there who the narcissist will consider to be good supply. Those high-quality target supplies that the narcissist try to target, who might reflect back to the narcissist everything they want to believe about themselves. Those are the types of people they usually go into romantic relationships with, or at least try to. And sometimes those type of people that try to hold on close by for other reasons, maybe even as flying monkeys, for example. But the narcissist cannot accept or expect that they can't reasonably expect for everybody who they interact with on a day-to-day basis to be reflecting back to them all these superhuman perceptions and praise. It's just not reasonable. But the narcissist can't help but expect that. And it's not a conscious decision. It's a subconscious need for them they need to feel that nothing's wrong with them, and they need to feel that they are somehow better than everybody else. And they need people to convince them that is true by reflecting that back to them. And it's only once all of that is happening, that's a form of the narcissist overcompensating for what they really feel inside, which is inferior and insufficiency. It's only once other people are reflecting back to them what they want to believe about themselves that they can temporarily feel okay. But in practice, very few people ever do that. Very few people do reflect back to them what they want to see and think about themselves. And so they're always in that kind of struggle, or they're not really happy with themselves, but they blame other people for it. It's your fault that they're not feeling good about themselves, because you're not convincing them that they're the best thing since sliced bread. You're not reflecting back to them enough praise. And the narcissist can't really discern, they don't really notice what they're doing when it comes to sometimes them pushing people away or being rude to people, or sometimes even wanting to take revenge on people. Sometimes they feel like people have attacked them, even when people have done no such thing, and they're already conjuring up thoughts of revenge. Like, for what? It's a really messed up mindset. When you feel empty inside, when you feel shameful for who you are, very deep-rooted feelings of insecurity, and you try to camouflage that, and you try to overcompensate for that, and then you want to believe something about yourself, but you can only believe it if other people believe it and then reflect it back to you to make it easier for you to believe. That's a recipe for disaster, but that's how they live their lives. So if you're dealing with a narcissist, and your interactions with them inevitably reach a point here and there where something just feels a bit off, it doesn't feel right, and all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, did I do something wrong? Did I say the wrong thing? You're left scratching your head, like something feels off, but you don't know what. That's normal when it comes to interacting with narcissists. And don't beat yourself up because you haven't done anything wrong. That's just the way it goes. And that's why it's important to minimize interactions with them. You can't avoid all narcissists, because you have to deal with them in so many capacities in your life. But where possible, if you can minimize interactions with them, that's great. You minimize the scope of you offending them. But if you work with them and they need you, if you're doing a good job, they'll you just make sure that you're doing your job, you're doing you, you're focusing on you, and you're doing a good job on focusing on you. And keep interactions with them short and sweet, and then go about your business. It's the best way to deal with these people. And don't worry about it. If something happens and you just feel uneasy around them, that's bound to happen.